Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with Charlie. Y'all rocking with me. And for this episode, I'm going to be speaking on, once again, Lancaster Correctional Institution, a.k.a. Clancaster, the 14 to 24-year-old youth offender prison in the state of Florida. Now, when I was there, 2013, 2014, I was both on the main unit and at the work camp. And this was by far the most violent place that I ever went. Appalachia Correctional, the adult prison, it was dead serious over there too. A lot of stabbings, people getting killed. But Lancaster, day for day, was the most violent prison I ever hit. It was non-stop, going at it, 25-8. You had a shitload of gangs inside of every single dorm. You had open bay dorms like B dorm, in which there was no cameras in that bitch at all. Only 2 COs. When they do a little count, 2 COs are on one side of the dorm and it's going the fuck down over here. This is the first place I've had to wrap my face up to sleep. It was intense. This is when I started seeing people really getting cut the fuck open. This is where we had the box cutters, because the outside work squads were using them for whatever work detail they had to do, and they were finding their way back onto the main unit. And shout out to Smoke, because Smoke actually found a box cutter at the work camp. He dug that shit up, old rusty thing, put a little handle on it. I was trying to get it off of him. And I mean, a box cutter at Lancaster was the equivalent of having like a 45. You hit somebody with that, it's over with. We had razors, they were limited. There was a lot of soup can lids getting broken in half, people getting cut with them. But if you had a box cutter, you had that big 4-5. Now, when I was at the work camp is actually where I saw the worst cutting, which the Zoes jumped on one of their own people with a box cutter and spun it all the way around his head, cut his pinky in half. It was hanging off. It was disgusting. The kid almost died. He said he almost died. I actually reached out to him and tried to get an interview, but I'm sure he doesn't want to do that because, you know, Zoes might, you know what I'm saying? We're just going to leave it at that. But when I went back to the main unit, my bro EJ had shot me a kite, which is basically like a little note. He sent it through somebody that was at medical from the work camp, going back to the work camp. They brought it to me. And when I seen it, I actually have the note posted on Instagram. I was happy as hell to hear from bro. You know what I mean? And he was about to go home. He told me he had just cut a G from his mouth to behind his ear with a box cutter. And to me, the work camp, it was boring. It was boring. It was softer. I was immature at the time. The violence to me made the time go by faster because there was so much more to focus on than just having free time when you're just sitting around in a dorm with nothing to do. It was just, my day by day was going so slow. A part of me was just like, you know what, fuck it. I want to go back to the main and go through whatever I go through. It is what it is. And I put in a psych request. I didn't know when it was going to go through. I ended up cutting somebody at the work camp. I've told y'all this story. And the same day that I cut him, coming back from chow at breakfast, I ended up getting shipped over to the main unit, back to B dorm, back to B1. Now, B dorm is the original dorm I was in at Lancaster. You got B1, B2, open bay dorms, no cameras. It's going the fuck down. It's intense. The second you get in there, you can feel it in the atmosphere. There's just pressure in the air. And we were at war when I went over there. We're going at it with the Zoes. It was intense and it was rocking. And that's what I was looking for at the time. Now, there was a bro in there, MPI. I forget his name, but he was from Claremelle. And the second I met him, he wasn't in there my first time, but he was in there my second. The second I met him, we were cool as shit first quarter. We found out, you know, he's from Tampa, I'm from Tampa. He was built funny. Like his body, he was just genetically ripped. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked weird, but he was shaped to the point that he was just like a natural fighter. You know what I'm saying? But he was cool as shit. He had all the busted pictures, which is basically like, you know, naked girls or almost naked girls, and people are going on the back sink and gunning the pictures down because we don't have stalls inside a B dorm. You just got toilets. There's no separation. Our sinks, there's a pole with 4 sinks in the front, and a pole with 4 sinks in the back. They'll use the back pole to stand there and, do their thing or whatever. But I meet him. We get cool as shit first quarter. We find out, they lace me up on who all the Zoes are inside of the dorm, and it's go time, you know what I'm saying? They show me what weapons we got. Red lights in the dorm too, you know what I mean? We got screwdrivers. I think we had like 1 or 2 cutters. We had a couple locks and socks. But these weren't the traditional locks that you get off Canteen. These were the big master locks that were taken off of the actual fucking prison gates. So these are big, square, block, chunky, heavy locks. You hit somebody with this, it's doing even more damage. Like, we had some real weaponry in there. Now, bro that was from Claremelle was cool with this other kid that I was at Sumter with from Tallahassee. He was one of the biggest jits at Sumter CI. And allegedly, he had broke it off to the Zoes or was just paying them so nobody fucked with him. This kid would break anybody's face. Nobody was stronger than this kid. He was huge. Supposedly, he was supposed to play college football, whatever. He had a beard and everything, like grown-ass man, but young as hell. And he looked like he was probably like 23, 24. But the one thing about him was he wasn't for the pokers, the razors. If you pulled out iron on him, he'll tell you had that. And I used to think it was soft. Now I just think he was smarter than the rest of us. He wasn't intimidated. He wasn't scared. He knew that he didn't want to go that extra mile. He wasn't willing to get that violent. He wanted to go home. And he was perfectly fine with telling somebody like, all right, bro, you got that. Like, you more gangster, bro. You go ahead, bro. But he knew deep down if they were one-on-one in a cell, he would fucking fold Buddy and stick him out of the flap. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew he would win. And I can look back and reflect on these things and see things from a different perspective. But back then, I was like, what? You ain't gonna get a poker and poke his ass up? You pussy. You ain't gonna get a razor and slice his ass? You pussy. It was just my dumbass mentality back then. But the kid from Tallahassee and my bro from Tampa, they were cool as shit. They got into it with somebody that came inside of the dorm. I think he got moved either from confinement or he got put in from another dorm. But they got into it with him. And I only knew this kid from Tampa for like a couple of days, literally. But when you're stuck all day inside of a dorm with somebody, you get to know them pretty quick. It wasn't a major thing. It wasn't even something that I thought about twice. It was just something that popped up and went away. There weren't really too much words between the two. Nothing really happened like that. So the next day, that morning, we go to chow. We go to breakfast. It's nighttime outside. Like, we eat breakfast in the morning while it's still dark. It's pitch black. I don't even know why they do it like that, because that's when everyone's getting cut. Right when they wake up, they're still drunk, tired. Then all of a sudden, boom, this shit's just hanging open. We go to chow. Everyone's on edge. Everyone's on point because there's been a lot of crashing lately. We're at war, you know what I'm saying? So people are getting fired up and fucked up inside of the chow hall, going at it, crashing. The CO start gassing everybody. You got fucking pepper spray in your biscuits and coffee cakes. So we get back to the dorm. And when we get to B dorm, we line up on the outside. The CO opens the door. The CO goes in first. And everyone else is left outside. So as we're all grouped up, bro from Tampa, he's by me. And he walks up to me and puts his arm around my shoulder and kind of like whispers in my ears like, hey, bro, just watch out real quick. So immediately, like, I was on point. I don't want to say I wasn't on point, but hearing that, I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then the first thing I peep game, like, I don't even have nothing on me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no weapon on me. I just got hands. We got most of the weapons stashed inside of a bunk from a jizzle that's basically a hold down man. He's got all the fucking bangers, locks, socks. He's got all this shit in his bunk. You know what I'm saying? And we used to let him play with him and shit. Like, he would just hold a poker and play with it if there's no COs and be flexing in the corner, holding it up and shit. But he just held them for us. So when he does that, he moves me. And like, his arm comes off of me. And he's not even looking at me now. And I'm looking at him. And then I see who he's looking at. And then all of a sudden, I see bro from Tallahassee start coming around. And it was like at the same time, one went this way, The other went this way. Both of them being two of the biggest jits inside of this dorm. Their fists collided off of this kid's fucking jaw and made gunshots. It was just boom, boom. And this kid he didn't hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? He like fell on someone else and was like grabbed onto the back of their jacket and was like trying to hold himself up. But it was just doo, doo. Like 2 quick fucking gunshots just went off and then they shot inside of the dorm. Now I got my bros with me. I got Jamaica with me. You know what I'm saying? So like we see what happens and we're just like, damn. And we see Jit jaw and his shit, his mother like a fucking fish just hanging open. Like they broke his shit completely. It just boom, boom. He's out of there. You know what I mean? So we run off into the doorway. And the doorway, the second you walk through it, you got the mop closet on the right. Then it opens up into the bathroom. Then you bang that left and now you're inside of the dorm. And everyone just sat down on their bunk. We're just like, oh shit. And I was surprised, to be honest, because like he didn't get cut. Like my first day inside of B-Dorm at Lancaster, when I got there, I seen Angel, rest in peace, you know, up that lock and sock and fire up the last GD on the compound. He got fired up like 2 times by 2 different people, and then the other one poked him with a poker. And you know, everyone jumps on the ground, jumps on the grass and shit. The CEO's trying to figure out who did it. Buddy that got hit up, he's standing there all fucked up and shit. He gets taken to confinement. So we don't know what this kid's gonna do. We know that his jaw is dangling off. But he comes in and he walks up, you know, to the booth and he checks in. He's going to confinement. I mean, what the fuck is he supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, unless he's gonna go and grab a lock and a sock and crash out in front of the CEO and risk getting fucked up even more, he didn't really have too many options. So he goes up, you know, to the CEO and just basically lets them know he gets cuffed up. We don't even really get put on lockdown. I think we just had to sit on our bunks for a couple of hours. But they didn't make it a big deal because of the fact that he didn't get his face slit open. He wasn't fired up. His jaw got rocked. Whatever, they took him to medical and nothing ever really happened after that. Nobody got caught. And bro from Tampa literally went home like a day later. But aside from that, inside of B-Dorm, I never saw any other fighting. There was no fighting between gang members. There was no fighting amongst gangs. The only time there was any fighting was if a CO was making the head of a gang punish his own people. Like inside of B2, you had the head of MPI, which was Trey from Grant Park. And then you had Junebug, who was from Sulphur Springs. Me and Junebug were in juvie together. Me and Junebug were in fucking CFIC together. Sumter together. And he was in B2, I was in B1. But the CEO made Trey fight Junebug because Junebug was pissing off the CEO. And they went into the back room. The CEO watched them. And Trey knocked Junebug out. You know what I'm saying? But there was no bad blood between them. They brothers. But the CEOs will enforce gangs to pretty much discipline their own people. Because at the same time, these same CEOs are letting us do hits. They're letting us attack other gang members. They know what's going on. They'll turn a blind eye. Hey, we finna da-da-da. Do your thing. Boom. And it gets done. But at the same time, certain other gangs, they have CEOs that favor them. And the same thing will be done. The only thing that doesn't get respected, even though it was still being done, is when you go and tell a CEO, hey, they got weapons. They got this and that. That's straight snitching. That shit does not get respected. I'm not going to lie. There was Bloods that did that. Me and Red Light targeted their ass. I'm sure Brando did too, but I wasn't in the dorm with Brando at the time. You got to clean up your own people and hold your own people accountable. But when it came to try to pull hits off and shit like that, we put the word in, we get a green light. Red Light had some of the most pull on the compound because he was there for fucking ever. Red Light went to prison when he was 14. We were able to do a lot of dirt in that motherfucker, but there was other gangs that had just as much pull as we did with certain COs. And if y'all saw the video yesterday, for some reason, YouTube said it had inappropriate content. I don't know if people were flagging it or whatever the fuck the problem was, but they took the video down. It is what it is. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep bringing that new content. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with Charlie. Y'all rocking with me. Till next time.